Today I'm making number 4 in the challenges arranged by Karla at Kagedfish. I'm treating these like I treated cat hands, mixed media morsels, and I'm just working through them in an effort to try and find my style and improve my capabilities in collaging and working with mixed media. Now the challenge for number 4 had a sticker, and you saw that there. I've put a word on a sticker. It had ink smooshing, which I'm doing here. I'm smooshing it direct onto the base of the card to start with, and in a minute I do some pink onto the craft mat and mix it with water. I got the idea from this from one of Andrea Kidman's learning German videos, and it was so cute, and I thought I'll just use that. There I am, I'm smooshing on some pink onto that slightly greeny back. I'm trying very hard to keep this much more subtle. I tend to want to just pile everything on when I'm collaging and layer it up and colour it up, and it just looks messy and too heavy. And this one I was determined to try and keep more delicate and lighter, and following my Lally Mill workshop that I was able to engage in a couple of weeks ago. I'm sort of letting in the light, letting things shine a little more. So I'm working on those concepts. This wasn't quite what Karla wanted. I don't think she wanted some partial text, and I think really she wanted more partial word or partial letters sort of thing, but I just used it's a partial paragraph really, because the word I was using from Andrea was German. I've used a little bit of page from a German text, and it's got lovely rather old Gothic text or font on this, so it looks quite nice. So I'm just colouring up the edges of that with a little pink, again using the crayon, crayon rubbing was one of the prompts. And just applying a little bit of the smoochy green just to texture it up a little bit and put a bit of colour onto that page. I think it was bundled sage. I used bundled sage and old paper. That might have been old paper that I used there. The pink is worn lipstick. Just wiping those off. I suddenly remembered I had this Artist's Choice fixative, and that is what I actually coated them with and let it dry. It makes them a little translucent, but I coated all three: the card, because I'd put the watercolour distress inks on it, the piece of text, and also the baby face, because they all had crayon on them, and I didn't want them to smudge if I'd used matte medium or something to adhere these down. So when that dried, I'm now applying them all to the card with some watered down PVA glue. The word I'm using is Wunderploppen, which means chubby cheeks, or that little baby face chubbiness, as Andrea describes it. And I thought this little image from Graphics Fairy was pretty perfect. My grandsons have all had very chubby cheeks too, and I remember working in Sydney and in quite a large IT office, and all of the little Asian girls would come to where I had Nicholas's baby photo on my wall above my computer, and they would come and they would try and squidge his little cheeks together on the photo, and it just reminded me of this Wonderproppen word, and I thought that'd be perfect. And besides that, it gives me a chance to use much more delicate colours than, which is something I'm trying to aim for. So I've put the sticker, I made that sticker myself just by putting it through my little sticker machine. So that's all applied. I've got the face, I've got the word, I've got the partial text. Now I have to concentrate on the stencil. What am I going to use for the stencil? And for quite some time I was going to put some of these hearts around sort of two sides, just outlining the word then with a bit of green and a little bit of very dark brown, and going around with the water pen just to smudge it out, make it, just to give it a little bit of definition. I wasn't convinced about the heart, so I left it there while I fiddled and thought about it, and in the end I went with a star stencil, not a heart stencil. I didn't want anything sort of quite that defined, though it would have looked okay, I think. But I wanted to use the silver embossing paste, so I thought the stars were more appropriate. Here I'm just going around with the oil pencil just to give that face a little more definition off the page, just to make it pop a little, watering the line down and smudging it out with my finger just to keep it light. I'm keeping these cards in a little folder, like the postcard folder that I made a couple of videos ago. I'm going to make one to pop these in and keep them all together, either that or a little folder like I did for the mixed media morsels with Cat Hand. I really do need to work on my skills when it comes to using mixed media and also collage, so it's a good opportunity for me to try and get that organised. I'm sorry about the bumps and noises, it just frightened me. The man next door's decided to work against his fence, so there was a big thump then. He must have hit the fence with something. Now you can see I'm putting on the silver modelling paste quite tentatively. I didn't want it all over, I just wanted it around a sort of two-sided border with a little bit down beneath the face and the word, but not all over. Taking the stencil off and leaving that to dry, and there it is. I actually put a few little stars with my fine Posca pen and also a gel pen. I put a few little stars just to put a bit of lightness on. That's the pink check paper is on the back of the card, and I'm just going around with the pencils, because when you rub them against my silicone mat underneath the craft mat, it makes a lovely checker sort of texture pattern, which I think is part of the crayon rubbing that Karla wanted. So that's on the back as well. You can probably see it a bit more clearly on that back part than you can on the front, but it does leave quite a nice texture. So we're just about there. I've got some close-up photos at the end. Oh, I'm using a dark purple just to go around to darken up the edges, just to give it a bit more definition, finish it off. There we go. Here's a photo of my grandson Nicholas, so you can see where I got the idea for the chubby cheeks from, the dear little soul. And there's the card I made with a Wonderproppen word on it. And there's just a little close-up. Thanks so much for watching. Bye now.